Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is April 15th, and right now we're looking at the infrared/visible satellite imagery. You can see this plume of clouds moving towards Pacific Northwest. This frontal system is going to pass through the area, mostly on the day tomorrow. Some light precipitation, mainly west of the Cascades today. The further you go east, a bit warmer you're going to be here as we go through today and tomorrow. And look out across the Gulf of Alaska, all this cumuliform cloud activity here, a lot of cold air, and this is going to set up shop across Pacific Northwest as we go on into the day Sunday and on into early next week. We'll take a look at those details. We'll take a look at the extended forecast as always here in a moment. Now, this is looking a little bit closer here, the visible satellite imagery. You can see the high clouds streaming across the area out there, and you can see the further you go east again, there is some nice sunshine out there, and you can see some of those nice snow-capped peaks across some of Idaho and Montana here, and some lower elevation fog mixed in there as well. But we're not going to get much of a break here. You're not going to see much sunshine here across much of western Washington, Oregon, and southern BC. But the precip shouldn't be too heavy today. There'll be some light precip off and on, but the main precip should be coming on in through the day tomorrow. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And if you guys want a nice home affordable weather station, click on the link down below for 10% off. Been talking about this one for the last few weeks. Very impressed with this weather station. Now, looking at SeaTac yesterday, 56 degrees, a lot of glorious sunshine out there, though. Even though we were a little bit below average there, it felt downright warm to me anyway out there. Maybe I'm just getting used to the cold weather here. But we're going to remain below average here as we go through the next several days on in through next week, which you'll see here in the weather model runs coming up. This is National Weather Service Pendleton talking about that chilly air arriving as we go through the early portion of the week coming up. And you can see that there's going to be some freeze and frost potential out there. So watch out for those sensitive plants. I know farmers are trying to get going out there, but heads up, we are not done with the cold weather just yet. This is National Weather Service Spokane. You can see the increasing clouds today and then the cool and wet Sunday coming up here with some gusty winds out there as well. This is looking at the NAM3KM, so this gives us a good idea of what the Doppler radar may look like. You can see better chances of precipitation across Vancouver Island into southwest BC as this system moving across the area. Light precipitation amounts across western Washington off and on today. Then you'll see the stronger frontal system start to swing through on Sunday morning, tomorrow morning. There you can see that frontal system bring some moderate rain all the way down through southern central Oregon here and then push off through the east as we go on in through the afternoon tomorrow. Thunderstorm chance is going to occur across mainly some portions of northeast Oregon here, and even a thunderstorm chance for some of western Washington and the coastal areas here as we go on into tomorrow afternoon as well. Then we go on into Monday here, and you can see this another upper level low impacting the region here. Thunderstorm potential along the coastal areas right now as well. And we're going to continue to do that on in through next week. We're going to have thunderstorm potential as we go on in through Tuesday and Wednesday across the area also with some cold air aloft around. This is looking at the day 2 categorical outlook for thunderstorm, and you can see it includes western Washington, Oregon, northeast Oregon, eastern Washington, Idaho, and some extreme northwest Montana. And this is for day 3. This would be Monday, and this is likely to be expanded a little bit here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this includes some of western Washington, Seattle metro area as well. This is looking at Portland International Airport, and look at some of the highs today, up towards 55 maybe, but then look at the cool down coming. I mean, some of these days we might only be right around 50 degrees, maybe just in the upper 40s. It's pretty well below average here for April, and you can see that reflected in these temperatures here before maybe we start to bounce back towards the end of next week. We'll be watching that. We have several days to look at that coming up here, and we'll look at the extended forecast starting now for Seattle. See that cold upper level trough, not much in the way of warm temperatures here until we go in towards maybe Friday, Saturday, maybe a little bit of a bounce back here, then maybe towards the end of the month, but this is way out here, just purely fantasy at this point. But there's always that chance we can start warming up as we get towards the end of April. But you can see just the huge variation, which is normal when you start looking out in the extended portions of a forecast, especially an ensemble forecast. Now, here we go. Boise International. Check it out. Today and tomorrow, not too bad. Again, further you are east, especially out towards the valleys of Idaho, you might get fairly warm Sunday today and on into Sunday. You can see temperatures up towards 70 degrees are possible before that upper level low then sets up shop here and really brings down these temperatures and these overnight lows, potentially dropping down below freezing again. This is Spokane. Again, today and tomorrow, not too bad here before the upper level low sets up shop across the area. Now we're looking at the European on the left versus the GFS on the right. So put that into motion. Bit of ridging here, mainly east, again, like I've been mentioning. And the upper level trough brings that frontal system through on the day tomorrow. Then we get the cold upper level low just sitting over the top of the Pacific Northwest. Pretty good model agreement, as you can see, on the GFS on the right and the European on the left there. Again, this is at 18,000 feet, 500 millibars here. Just kind of shows this troughing just hanging out on the Pacific Northwest. And then the European starts to kick it out of here as we move towards the end of next week. And GFS hangs on a little bit longer here, but you can kind of see this ridging trying to build along some of the west coast here. So this will be interesting to watch here. Maybe we'll start to uptrend with this and start to bring some warmer weather towards the end of next week. And again, no promises right now. We'll just kind of watch this going day by day. Now, this is looking at 10,000 feet, and you'll clearly see the frontal system that we're dealing with tomorrow driven by this polar lobe here. And you can see that spread over the region here, then a reinforcing shot here as we go through the day Tuesday, and then this kind of cold air just hanging out. You can see the big troughing all the way down towards California here. This would be about Tuesday afternoon. So nice depiction there of that cold air aloft at about 10,000 feet. Multiple waves of it moving over the Pacific Northwest as we go on in through midweek coming up. This is lightning flash density potential. So let's speed ahead till tomorrow and look at this. You see some lightning activity across some of the Cascades, maybe eastern Oregon, maybe a thunderstorm in towards western Washington, according to the European here as well. Then we go on into Monday, and again, we're going to do it again. Some destabilization of the atmosphere across the region here. Going into Tuesday, and again, we might get a thunderstorm across the area there. So that's what we'll be watching out for. You know, maybe some sharp, nice white cumulus clouds with some small hail, snow pellet showers, and maybe a lightning strike or two cannot be ruled out anywhere across BC, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and western Montana as we go on in through early to mid this week coming up. Here we go, 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This goes through April 24th, still with that below average signal here across Pacific Northwest. 8 to 14 day backing off a little bit here. This goes through April 28th. And this could change rapidly. You know, if that ridge starts to build out here, these odds are going to change quite quickly here. So we'll watch that, of course, as we go. This is on through April 24th, precipitation with the bullseye here. And again, across a lot of the Pacific Northwest as you go on in through the end of April. And I've talked about this the last couple of days. This was issued, I believe, on April 10th, I want to say, or something like that. And you can see that we are definitely looking at very high odds of an El Nino developing here as we go through the summer, fall, and winter months coming up. You can see La Nina is basically non-existent, 1 or 2% chance. You can see neutrals odds really drop off here as we go on in through the winter months as well. So likely El Nino on the way. Will it be a strong one? We'll just continue to watch that and see how this trends. And this is looking at sea surface temperature anomalies. This goes back 30 days here. So if we set this 15th of March, see some of these cooler temperatures across central equatorial Pacific here, and those are just kind of getting erased here. We're warming up the ocean waters here, and that's likely setting the stage for the El Nino coming up. And this is something that's, we've had that exceptional drought across eastern portions of Oregon here, and it's finally been erased. It's still an extreme here, but it's a good sign that we did get rid of that exceptional drought. We have been getting some decent snowpack across some of the higher terrain of Oregon, so that's no doubtedly helping with this drought condition. You can see Washington, again, mostly drought-free, but it did start to include portions of northeast Washington here, and we still are abnormally dry across a lot of the Cascades, including the Seattle Metro down through southwest Washington also here. So we could get some drought development still here across the Cascades as we go on into the summer months. Hopefully not. Cross our fingers. Maybe we can stay wet here as we go through April and May and try to kick that fire season back before we start heading into those summer months. But anyway, yeah, pretty good depiction here on the satellite imagery of the frontal system. This will be passing mainly on the day Sunday, some light precipitation today. And then we are going to get cool here across Pacific Northwest, and you can clearly see all that cold air across the Gulf of Alaska there. We do have a thunderstorm threat as we go on into Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday coming up. So we'll just kind of watch that as we go, and we'll see what kind of potential warm-up we have as we go on towards next week. We've been talking about that, it seems like, for several weeks now, trying to look for some kind of warm-up here, but it has not come to fruition just yet. We remain below normal here across Pacific Northwest, and we are not going to change that here, at least through midweek coming up here. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe, and we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.